Right. So we are here to get an overview of IFRS. What is IFRS in general? While you will learn everything in the 100 hours course, online learning, I am trying to give you a brief capsule approach towards IFRS. Where is IFRS moving? One, global versus country approach. Are we going to look at a country? Certainly not. Why? Because there are now cross-country acquisitions, cross-country mergers. There are MNCs spread across anywhere. You see McDonald's everywhere. You see KFC everywhere. How are we going to have a accounting statement, a financial reporting statement, which is prepared on a common platform? It has to be a global platform, and that's IFRS. So global approach over country approach. In this context, I'll give you a reference of a topic called functional currency. Functional currency in many country accounting standards talk about nothing but a standard, a currency which is bound by geography. Now IFRS comes with a approach of, think of it. Anybody guess? Okay, basically it is a currency which is having the economic environment based currency. So if a company in a particular country is dealing in a home currency, which they have, for example India, if you are dealing in Indian rupees, however, if you have one another subsidiary which is dealing in dollars, both exports and imports, then their economic environment is dollars. Their budgets are done in dollars. Their EPS expectations are in dollars. A classic example, well published on the internet, is of one of the subsidiaries of Essar, which is maintaining its accounts in dollars. And that's the beauty of IFRS. The currency doesn't get decided by the country which you are in. The currency gets decided by the economic environment we are in. All right. Fair value versus historical cost. Think of World Trade Center. Think of Nariman Point of Mumbai, and think of Tokyo, Japan, or think of Delhi Towers. Okay. Are they into the books at a cost value, or are they into the books at the value which is a fair value? IFRS comes with the fair value concept. Why? Because the beauty of historical cost is, frankly, they are misrepresenting the accounts. Are the shareholders wealthy? Are the shareholders well-to-do? If the land and buildings which are captured at a cost level, if they are kept in the books of accounts, they are completely showing outdated picture. IFRS takes a clear approach, fair value approach. Now, is the fair value a subjective thing? Is IFRS therefore becoming very subjective? Oh, the views which has been propounded, and I'm sure you will experience it in the facts. I experienced it in all my career when I did 21 cases of acquisitions in my whole career, especially in last 10 years, in fact, most of them. The fair value is so and so billions, and that's how the valuation gets done, and the company gets acquired. I have never come across any acquisition without valuation. So at one time my son used to joke. He used to say, then what is your real balance sheet doing? I say, oh, that's for legal purpose. So why? Oh, that doesn't show fair value. That shows at historical cost. Thankfully now IFRS has come to our help, which gives a fair value in the balance sheet. It is better to have a fair value which makes the picture at least 80 to 90% giving a perfect view than a historical cost which is giving totally a wrong view. For example, if a building has been purchased 100 years back for 1 lakh rupees and that is continuing to be repaired and replaced and repaired and replaced, and then still the values are in the range of depreciated amounts lying like that, whereas anybody is ready to buy it at 1 crore of rupees, the shareholders' wealth should be represented in that fashion. And that's where many companies adopted the fair value approach, which helped them. Fair value approach has now been covered by IFRS 13. But if I had to give you some ideas of the buildings and land which are appreciating like anything, they have to be at fair value. Or the organization which has got a great brand, we know which are the great brands. What is the size of the Walmart as a brand? What is the size of Tata's as a brand? What is the size of Infosys as a brand? Are they being valued? And these are the practical examples which we are going to learn in this career of IFRS. Going forward, reporting versus accounting. Are we talking about debit credit accounting? And that's where most of the accountants hate it. Are they coming to the reporting nitty-gritties? Are they coming to the true and fair disclosures? Now IFRS talks about fair view disclosures and reporting them to the shareholders in such a fashion that the analyst, the investors, they are able to capture the substance of the issue. How do you talk about that? Now it tempts me to take the latest case of Kingfisher. Kingfisher is now currently in trouble because they are in losses. Salaries for many years are not paid. Kingfisher Airlines now is being approached by the foreign airlines, and where the airspace war has begun into many countries including India. Now as far as Kingfisher is concerned, Vijay Mallya has a great brand. You see him today also in IPL. So therefore, this fair value versus historical cost and the reporting versus accounting also has to talk about reporting of the intangible assets like brand. Adidas, the famous name in the shoe footwears, they have impaired the goodwill for a big amount. Talk about Tata Power. What happened to them? The latest case study is available. Talk about Biocon. Their accounting treatments of R&D versus sale of undertaking are the famous cases of reporting. These all you are going to learn into the online accounting. Okay. Now not only the Indian cases, not only the European cases, not only the Gulf cases, we are also going to learn the Canadian and European cases. Alright. The famous cases which have been happening into the banks, for example Citibank, for example the bank which are Bank of America, how these various kind of scams came out, how the things mattered most. Right. Substance over form. Now this has become a big joke. Accounting has treated a lot of accountants, not just accounting but the manipulation of accounting. What is manipulation of accounting? Create a document which can be recorded on the basis of a document, and the document is created with a malified purpose to mislead the investors, mislead the shareholders. For example, if a company wants to show very high turnover or the company wants to show very high profit, what do? They do a invoicing on paper. What is meant by invoicing on paper? Raise an invoicing on the customer with an intention to show higher sales and higher profit. Now, IFRS doesn't accept that. It comes with a risk and reward transfer principles. Unless the risk and reward has been transferred, that too in substance, one cannot book the revenue. So the revenue is transparent, has to be correct. Famous case on the cost of sales is very well known, Kmart, which had got the discount credit notes of the future years booked in advance, and it has been published in New York Times and Business Standard, both the places. That is the next year's credit note booked into current year, and thereby bringing the cost of sales down and thereby misleading the investors by showing higher profits. It's a famous case again. I need not have to talk about Satyam and Xerox and Enron and many other companies which have been playing this fraud. How will those frauds come out? Or one doesn't have to talk about spectrum scam or the irrigation scam, how they are going to affect the intangible assets valuation. Let's get into next aspect. IFRS believes in group accounts. What is group accounts? Group accounts means consolidated accounts. The individual accounts do not show necessarily the right picture. The group as a whole, consolidated accounts show the absolutely right picture. Why? Because the intercompany entry is done with the intention of not at an arm's length approach, take care of that. I need to give here an example of transfer pricing regulation. So here is the taxman which is looking also at the group accounts. The taxman says that the group has to consolidate the accounts at the arm's length transactions. Then it will come out what are the transfer pricing paddings and cushions kept in order to show the transfer of profits, which becomes either tax friendly or move it to the tax rich countries. This will bring a major check over it when you say every accounts have to be consolidated. Take a case of every accounts to be consolidated. What are we talking about in this case? Simple. Absolutely simple. Is consolidation compulsory? Oh. Talk about India. In India, only the listed public companies, it is compulsory under the listing agreement. That too, the consolidation has to be done for subsidiaries. Now where is subsidiaries defined? Subsidiaries are defined under Companies Act. So therefore a subsidiary can be only a company. Whereas the IFRS concept of group says that you must combine all the, let me use a typical word which IFRS uses, controlled entities. What's a controlled entity? A controlled entity can be influenced by the management of the holding company. So do you need to have the shareholdings? Do you need to have the shareholdings? No. We will deal that with later. Principles over rules. Rules have become a joke. I mean, take the case of construction accounting principles. Construction accounting gets substantially completed under US GAAP if 90% of the cost have been incurred. And at that point, you have to stop the capitalization of borrowing cost. Now, what happened with this kind of a rule? Rule means figures. Rule means percentage. Rule means some kind of a boundary. And that boundary, therefore, everybody plays a game by saying that my cost completed is 89.99%. And it never crosses 90%. Why? Because I want to continue to capitalize the borrowing cost. And the accounts are manipulated. IFRS goes for principles. What are the principles? Is this ready for intended use in substance? Yes. If that is yes, then your capitalization of borrowing costs has to stop. Taking it forward further, we were talking about entity over company. What is entity over company? A company is an individual entity, right? A corporate entity. Whereas what is entity? We learn an individual is an entity. A partnership is an entity. A trust is an entity. A cooperative society is an entity. Association of person is an entity. Now, of late, we know limited liability partnership, that is also an entity. Are we going to combine? Are we going to consolidate those or not? IFRS brings in that into the picture. What does it say? We must combine the entities. All the entities where we have control. So, a company may have to consolidate the partnership firms in which they have got more than 50% capital, or more specific, they have got control whether they have capital or not. Talking further, every entity has to be consolidated. Next step, balance sheet over P&L. Now, I need to ask a simple question to ourselves. Is wealth more important or income more important? Clearly, wealth is more important over income. But at any point of time, a normal accountant, when he comes across the annual accounts, it says that, oh, okay, how much is the profit of the company? How much dividend they are paying? Is it a short-term approach or long-term approach? Question mark. So therefore, a shareholder, an investor will look at wealth, and wealth is shown by balance sheet and not by profit and loss. I discussed to some extent a concept called controlled entity. What is controlled entity? Entity which is controlled by a particular another entity. Control can be governed by what? Control over financial and operating decisions, power to govern the decisions, dominant influence. These are all controlled entities. Whereas subsidiary, as per the normal country gaps or Indian gap or European gap, was governed by, oh, do you hold more than 50% shares in the share capital of another company? That was supposed to be subsidiary. Now we are talking about a controlled entity. That is, if there is a power to influence, if there is an exposure to risk and reward, and if there is a link between the two, that will be treated as controlled entities. Many kind of manipulations have happened on account of that. Scams are happening all over the world via controlled entities. How? There are entities through which the money is routed, money is manipulated. And if those controlled entities are forced to be consolidated, then I'm sure the IFRS goal, which is of transparency, will be coming out very powerfully.